COVID-19 seemingly in the rearview mirror, we're all just passing by, acting like the last couple of years didn't happen. You can almost be forgiven for not wanting to dwell on literally just how awful the lockdowns, mask mandates, social stigmas, and I don't know, human rights abuses were. For nearly 2 years, the American people suffered terribly. Not from COVID itself, that was just a thing of the past, but from the people that turned a molehill into a mountain. There was a hell that surrounded it. Okay, let's step back for a second. Today they're asking for amnesty, but do you remember the always changing CDC recommendations that would contradict themselves? I know I do. Do you remember the incessant finger wagging from nurses and leftists telling us to wear your mask and get vaxxed? Now, this is far from the worst of it. Because if you don't remember, let me remind you. Well, number one, they forced our children to cover their faces at school. They also shut down the schools for months on end, permanently setting generations of people behind. Like, there are children today that cannot speak, that should be speaking because parents were retards and covered their mouths so the kids couldn't see their parents speaking. And now they have dumb children. And we needed smart kids in our nation. I don't know if you also remember how they tanked the world's economy, spawned the worst inflation seen in decades, and also, if you don't remember, how they prevented families from being with loved ones as they passed away. On that note, welcome back to Slightly Offensive. This is the best, worst show on the internet where we always have confetti of color, 8K graphics. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review on the audio-only version of this podcast. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you go to Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcast, download it right now. Click the link in the description and just download it. It helps us, and leave that review, and you might get it read at the end of the show. And wherever you're watching, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification icon so you get updates, because YouTube are hiding these videos, and we are funded by you, fully independent, at elijahschaefer.locals.com. So make sure that you join the community there, because at the end of the show, we're going to have a fully offensive live segment with me and Kez. We're going to be touching some pretty spicy topics that's going to be live at Locals, only for paid subscribers. So join and support the community. We need you to continue fighting this battle against censorship. Well, let's talk about this. Amnesty. You might have seen this article from The Atlantic. They want amnesty. That's what abusers are always asking for when they lose power. But unfortunately for them, if you remember, there were thousands of people who committed suicide because of how bad their depression became during the COVID years. Now, I certainly remember, and I have a feeling that you do too, because you should. You should never forget the things that you went through. I'm telling you right now, wherever you're sitting, wherever you're driving, it doesn't matter. Try to take an account whenever you get home, even if put a pause on this, and write down some of the crazy things you never thought you would see or witness that the people put into action during the COVID years, that we were put through as a nation. Now, the people responsible for everything I just listed do not want you to remember. So please, please, please don't remember the fact that I literally killed your family members. I think my mom actually died partially from separation anxiety and isolation and cognitive decline because she was put into a hellhole during the initial lockdowns in 2020. Not to mention, Primetime 99, the pimp on a blimp that ate steak and shrimp, was just on Tucker Carlson and said that his mom died because of the treatment they gave her that was never supposed to use for COVID. They killed our moms. And they want me to simply forgive and forget. Just move on with your life as if nothing ever happened. Well, our main story today revolves around an article published earlier this week in The Atlantic entitled, "Let's Declare a Pandemic Amnesty." Now, the author states that we need to forgive one another. And we need to, not look in the past for what we did instead. Even if we killed your friends and people died from suicide and drug overdoses, it's a new world. It's 2022. Get out of your shell and, live a little, because now you're allowed to legally. Well, in other words, our leaders were apparently not at fault for robbing us of 2 years of our lives, permanently damaging our children, and destroying Trump's economic boom, because they didn't know any better. Your crazy leftist neighbor down the road who didn't leave her house for 16 months and berated you for not wearing a mask in the shower is just going to be forgiven too. She didn't know any better either. It's just shame old. Pfizer was telling the truth. As Ben Shapiro said, how did we know that Big Pharma would lie to us? Well, Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. But I think we all knew better. You can be forgiven for buying into the 2 weeks to stop the spread. I'll be straight up with you guys. I totally, bought into the 2 weeks to slow the spread. I believed it wasn't butter. Right? Can't believe it, but I believed it wasn't butter because it said it enough times. So I realized it was false. Initially, we all got a little duped. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 627 days in a row. Holy shit. We've got ourselves a serious problem, and we need tribunals. We need military courts. There certainly came a point where any rational person realized what was going on. I'm sorry, but mask wearing did not stop the spread of COVID, as said by the CDC, entirely, obviously. But the point of the matter is they said it did. And it was not a good idea to shut down schools and switch to online learning. Kids are years behind in their education. It was definitely not a good idea to claim that all of this was done in the name of science. Science became like the word retarded. It's like a curse word today. Like, oh, are you into science? It's like, yeah, you're an idiot. When clearly the opposite was true, all along our leaders, the most at fault for this, knew exactly what they were doing the entire time. The saying goes, never let a good crisis go to waste. And they certainly took full advantage, making billions and billions of dollars in the stock market from kickbacks, pharmaceutical companies cashing in. I mean, the richest in the country got much richer, like dozens of times richer during COVID, while the rest of us were struggling to get by. During the pandemic, if you dared to question the official CDC narrative, you would be punished, scorned, ridiculed. Censorship was rampant here on YouTube, especially on Twitter and the rest of the internet. We've never fully recovered from telling too much truth during a time where lies were expected. Not even the Spanish Inquisition could hold a candle to our own government's ability to squash dissent. A recent document leak from the Department of Homeland Security shows just how far the alphabet agencies are willing to go to control information. They plan to eliminate anything deemed as toxic narrative by suppressing its reach on social media. And we'll get into that later on in the show with Lauren WITZKE, who joins us to talk about the intricacies of our government manipulating social media to suppress our free speech while amplifying their counter message. Guys, we can't forgive. We can't forget. There's no one to forgive. There's nothing to forget. This isn't some person who made a mistake. This is a systematic, coordinated, globalist assault on our ability, our freedom, and our rights. Even the roof is falling apart right now in my room. They said, bring down the roof. Ladies and gentlemen, it's coming down. Now, but on the serious note, in other words, the government and social media companies are actively controlling what stories you see and which stories get buried. And CNN, MSNBC, do they care about this? Of course not. And many of us who frequently use sites like Twitter have long observed this trend happening in real time. If a school shooter is white, you can expect the story to be plastered on every feed and news channel. If the shooter were of any other color, like the black kid that was in Arlington, Texas, well, he just gets thrown under the rug because black people killing each other, it's just a Tuesday in Chicago. Likewise, we saw that during COVID, anything heretical to the official narrative was kept down, countered, or outright censored. Even the Hunter Biden laptop story. Now, evidently, the meaning of free speech to our wonderful leaders in D.C. actually means anything approved by Pfizer and the ADL. Do you love boosters? Do you love Israel? Do you hate free speech? Do you love the gays and butt sex? Well, you can say and speak your mind as freely as you want, Dylan Mulvaney. But if you're like me and, maybe you do something else in your free time than sodomy, well, the world is no longer your place to call home. And I don't seem to recall that being in the First Amendment, actually. Frankly, I find it disgusting that our government, which is supposed to serve us, thinks that it knows what information we can and can't handle. We shouldn't live in a society where our opinions are controlled from boardrooms in New York and ballrooms in D.C. And what I find most despicable, above all else, is that the individuals who did so much damage during the COVID years get to not only walk away scot-free, but get to turn around and tell us we have no right to hold them accountable. It's disgusting. Guys, don't forget to support the show as well. So maybe you're in a position in your life, Lauren and I both know this firsthand, that you want to stay in shape and that you want to be able to keep your body in good health, but there's something that you always end up craving, and that's chocolate. And you always want chocolate, right? Which is why I want to talk to you guys about this. So There is this amazing company. It's organic, right? They use all natural ingredients. It's absolutely amazing. Pure chocolatey taste with none of the guilt. We're talking about Cocoa Bliss from Earth Echo Foods. Now, what's amazing, earthechofoods.com/Elijah. If you use my promo code Elijah, you can get 15% off site-wide. This is a special offer just for you guys, and I encourage you to check it out. Now, if you're looking for something that can unlock the bliss of the real chocolatey happiness with the creamy taste and the flavor that you love, but without all of the extra calories, something that's soy-free, keto-friendly, USDA organic, 100% vegan for those that care, gluten-free, dairy-free, and doesn't leave you feeling bloated and gross, you need to check out right now the Cocoa Bliss, and you can get the single pouch. It's amazing. I got mine, and Lauren, you've tried this too. It's pretty freaking awesome, right?
Yeah, so I lost 6 pounds on it, actually. I was doing keto with it. Yeah, but I have like a chocolate tooth, and I was like I made milkshakes and stuff like that. I got ice and chopped up. It's really good, actually. I've had Cocoa Bliss, that brand in particular, and I lost a lot of weight, actually, and it's pretty good. So yeah, highly recommend, definitely endorse this product. They also come with, it's great for Black Friday also, because it comes with a mug, comes with a mixer. It's like a whole kit. So, support Elijah. That is a way that you can start building our parallel economy. Support his sponsors. Click the links in the descriptions. That is how we build alternative media, and that is how we stay afloat, and we fight back, Stop giving your money to people that hate you.
Yeah, stop doing that, guys. Please support right now yourself, your taste buds, your health, and also companies that support your right to free speech. Go to earthechofoods.com. That's EARTHECHOFOODS.com/Elijah, ELIJAH. Use the promo code Elijah right now for 15% off site-wide. Go there and get it and actually taste the flavor. Don't taste the rainbow. That's not what we're trying to do. Yeah, taste the goodness. Anyway,